computer. All right, that should have a red flashing dot at the top. Okay, that's a success. And let me share my desktop briefly. Try to anyway. There we go. Boom, boom. And bring up a mini agenda. That is an island on a Mac on the background there. So hopefully that's seeable. I'm going to start off, welcome. I'm Tom Cutter, Whiskey 6 Bravo Sierra. We're going to go through club membership and treasury with Phil, KD6RM, and then followed by club website updates with Carol, Kilo Papa 4 Mike Delta. And then Bob Mix was quickly added. I hope you know about this. So you're going to talk a bit about QRP transmitter project. And then we're going to get to the 2020 Lyle Aufranc, which I think I misspelled, Memorial Award for Exceptional Service, winner. And then a presentation, Tools for Elmers by me. So I get double duty tonight. This is a picture of an older version of the Aufranc Award. It's got a clock and looks like a wood background with all the members that have won the award for exceptional service throughout the years. This, I think, is not to the current standard, but it was what was on the website. So that's what it will look like. And it's going to have a lot more dates than what's listed there. That's kind of a short list at the moment. This was last year. We were actually meeting Christmas time at the Hofbrau, and that's usually where we have our Christmas dinner. We're not doing that. We're COVID this year. So again, electronic, we're going to do the Zoom again. And this was Paul presenting Kevin Hook with the award last year. We're going to find out who wins it this year a little bit. And then we'll celebrate. And this is supposed to be animated. It doesn't seem to be animated. There it goes. So we will celebrate the winner of the award. So anyway, that's what I have. Let's get this all shut down and unshare. Boom. Let's see, Carol, if you can actually grab the share after me. First, we'll start with Phil with the treasury reports and membership reports. Okay.
Am I active? I am active. Currently, we stand with a bank balance of $7,872.80. And, you know, that's not a bad place for us to be. We're definitely in the black, a little bit of money to use for club purposes. We've been pretty fortunate. And in addition to that, something that I think is even more interesting is our membership now stands at 151 paid members. I think that's a pretty remarkable number. I don't know if we're the largest club around, but we certainly have to be one of the largest. And, you know, I want to thank the board of directors for consistently putting together excellent programs for the membership. It's our activities and the quality of our meetings, frankly, that appeal to the membership. And as long as we do that, we enjoy a nice, solid participation by members. This Zoom session tonight, currently, we've got 30 participants. We have in-person meetings, the typical draws in the 30 to 40 range. So considering that we're kind of inhibited by not being able to get together, I'd say we've got a pretty good interested group of members. I do have a couple of other people's names to add to the list who have renewed for 2021, but I think we're in pretty darn good shape. And I wish to thank all of you for participation. That covers me.
All right, I did have a little summary of the year if you want to know how it went. I could not find January's presentation, but apology if you've done the January presentation, let me know if you're here. But I did go through the rest of the list that's archived. So in February, we had a presentation of WSJT signals with Kevin Hook as a slideshow. He had a database of data that he had collected. And then in March, we had emergency power for radio amateurs as a presentation. And that was kind of a weird time in that our president had died at the end of February or beginning of March. I don't actually remember exactly what the time was, but it was a weird meeting to actually, our last meeting in person was in March and do that presentation. So it was an unusual feel for us getting together at that time. Then following that, we had COVID protocols. We did not meet in April. We, as a board, we quickly tried to figure out, well, Kevin got promoted to being president, and we had an opening in vice president. I was voted in, well, not voted in, but appointed by the board members. And then we tried to figure out how we could continue to have meetings, and we got the idea that Zoom might work. So we've been using Zoom ever since. And electronics, I'm not sure that, I know we lost some people and we've gained some people. So I don't know exactly the balance. Phil was just going through that. I think we have some people that aren't attending via, hopefully they have a computer and they can actually watch it after the fact if they're not able to watch it live. In April, we had an end-fed sloper by Phil. And then following that in May, we had a down-to-earth electronic hazards from space by Jay Love. In June, we had field day prep, which was unusual in that we weren't meeting for field day. So that was finding tools that would make that happen. It was kind of wait to the last minute to see if we were actually how we're going to do field day. And in June, we had solid state transformers by A. Clark. And then we had some field day prep a little bit at June, that as well. In July, we had a field day summary, and then we had Show Me Your Shack. So if you've forgotten, we've done that. We probably have enough people that could actually do Show Me the Shack Part 2 if we wanted to add that to next year's agenda, if there people are interested. In August, Carol demonstrated the Kiwi SDR, web software-defined radio. And following that in September, we had homebrew night. A lot of the things that we normally do, we do in person. So we were doing homebrew via Zoom, and that was kind of an experience, but it kind of worked. Or, you know, it was some success, some fiddling around with Zoom, but we got some stuff done. Then we followed with kit building techniques for success with Jay Eisenberg. And then we had in November, we had Adventures in Antenna Launching, all via Zoom. So Zoom so far is a winner. I can see that we're probably going to have to continue that through next year. And I'm not sure how far in the year, but we have talked about how to do videos when we actually go live and in person again. And we'd like to continue that, just to make it easier for people that don't always attend the meetings, that they can certainly see what we're up to and what's going on. And that brings us to now. And I think it's been the longest year ever. I don't know how everybody else feels. That's a lot. I mean, I think of doing my presentation back in March and thinking, didn't I do that last year? It just seems like a long time.
At least the barber shops are open.
I don't know. I actually need a haircut too. If you look at here, you get some curls. But at any rate, after that, the summary, we'll go to Carol with the website. And a lot of this electronic stuff has improved. You'll see what Carol can present. And I think you can do it, Carol, if you need to share your screen.
Hey, Tom, Neil,
Yeah.
Somewhere in here, whenever you think is appropriate, I would like 1 second to make an announcement.
Sure.
Or to bring up something.
All right.
Right now? Okay.
Why not?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead and do it now. We're in between. I was going to start with Carol, but you can go ahead.
Very, very quickly. I was talking to my wife, and we were thinking about the weave that we normally take things to them around Christmas time. And I know the club has made a donation. I plan to make a donation. Beyond that, I would like to propose that anybody that have things that they could donate, we have taken a lot of things to weave during the year. anybody that has something that can collect, I would volunteer to come with my van and pick it up and make the physical donation. So my website is, my email address is on QRZ.com, and the club has it. Feel free to pass it on to anybody who needs. But just to, if you have anything, I'll be glad to bring it over to them.
Neil, you might want to talk to Weave. I spoke with them about this contribution the club made. And in that conversation, the first person I talked to said they, due to these COVID restrictions, they aren't really letting anybody in. They were discouraging hands-on gifts to them. And they indicated that they had a wish list on Amazon. And then later on, we've had some people try to find that wish list on Amazon and they weren't able to. So you might want to check on that.
Yeah, I did, Phil. I went there and made 2 donations physically, and indeed they don't let anybody in. What they did when I had a specific time to be there, and they put tables outside in the parking lot, and you would take it out of the car, put on top of the table. They would then take it inside, and there was no direct contact. But yes, I'll call them.
Yeah, it sounds to me like you've got it covered. Good job. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes.
Back to you, Tom.
All right. Well, Carol, I was just going to hand it off to you for the web reporting and updates. So go ahead, Carol.
Okay, thank you very much. You can hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. First of all, I'd like to congratulate the daughters of JoJo, Francis and Jade, for their new amateur radio licenses, KN6LRN and KN6LRO, and they are brand new student members of the River City Arcs. And on top of that, they have decided to start an amateur radio club at their school, which is the West Campus High School. And they just started as brand new. I am just so glad to see this kind of motivation. The board has received a donation from the family of Paul McIntyre. His amateur radio equipment has been donated to the club, and the board has decided that we are going to use that donation to sponsor the amateur radio club that's going to be established over there. Jojo, I was wondering if you had anything specific more you'd like to talk to us about that, or not. I know Jojo's here in the meeting.
Yeah, I'm here, and thank you for that. I appreciate it. We are just concerned that we don't have any faculty or parent that is, I mean, a teacher that is licensed in the school. So we are still trying to find out how maybe a parent of a student can man the station or guide them at least. So that is still in the works. But yeah, that would be good news if we can help them, and I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Jojo. This is great. In the past, we have, like about 10 years ago, we were also sponsoring another radio club at the Granite Bay Montessori School, but they did dissolve their radio station. And it's really great for us to recruit more young people to get into amateur radio and just show how much fun we're having with this and what a great service it can be, and perhaps an inspiration for their future careers as well. So I'm going to go ahead and try to do a share my screen here. Let's see if I can do this. Going to give the, there we go. You can see that okay?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, okay, yeah. This, the report for the website, n6na.org. That's our URL. And there we go. Just a reminder, all the information about our radio club is available on our website, and this is a great resource for all of our members. We have a calendar with all of the activities very prominently on our homepage. And I want to remind everybody there's also our nets. There's a page on our website also that has all the information about our nets. We have our daily nets at 7:30, which is the Health and Welfare Net. Thanks to Bob, who started that and has been very dutifully carrying on that net every day on our 2-meter repeater. Wednesday nets, we'll have our nets again tomorrow. 8 p.m. is our main 2-meter net. And then at 8:30, we have the 10-meter net, 28.420 megahertz upper sideband. All licensed hams of all classes are welcome to operate on that frequency. It's accessible to everybody with their license class. And let me tell you, 10 meters has been opening. We've been getting band openings, and we're getting skip on that on the band during the daytime. So get your HF equipment set up and enjoy. That's for sure. 9 o'clock, we do our slow scan TV net. That's on the 441.30 megahertz repeater. And we are now also live streaming that on YouTube. So if you can't or haven't tried watching slow scan pictures as they're coming in, you can see it being done live on our YouTube channel. There's a link to that on our webpage as well. The website activity for November, the total page views decreased, but we count from the fourth Tuesday of one month to the fourth Tuesday of the other month. So the visits per day has been pretty much consistent. We're having 73.8 per day in November, and the most views were November 4th, which is the day right after our last meeting. People going to the website to look at our video of the club meeting. The most active web page, of course, is the homepage. Was there a question? No, okay. Then our 10-meter page, second place, and then the swap page is in third place as far as activity on the web. And most of our visits come referred by Google. People look us up somehow, some keyword brings them right to our website, and that's 56.8%. 23.7% are direct to our URL, which is n6na.org. And look at that, we had 4% referred to us from W6EK, which is the Sierra Foothills Club. And shout out to them and thanks for referring web traffic to us. Most of our visits are from California, 1,273. And we had 71 from Texas, 51 from Oregon. As you can see in this map, many other countries around the world, Europe, Asia, Australia, and South America as well. Social media is quite active as well. Our YouTube channel last month had 1,205 views. We have 262 subscribers to the channel. 7 of them are new in the past month. Facebook page has 450 followers. And the Twitter page is active, 139 followers, and we have the Discord server. And we noticed that some of our new members are joining us on Discord, which is a great place for us to have a live chat. If you want any more information about that, you can send us an email to contact@n6na.org. And again, here are our URLs for our social media as well. So that's all I have from this side. Thank you very much. And back to net control.
All right, I guess I'm net control for today. Following Carol, well, actually, I talk about students and teachers and creating new radio in classrooms and things. The person I thought of that I first met was at Pacificon, and her name is Carol Perry, Carol with an E at the end. She has always offered that anybody that needs help in setting up an amateur station at schools to contact her. I don't have the contact information, but I can pass that to JoJo. I thought she'd be a good resource. In fact, even hardware and machine, if she's got donations of radios and whatnot, even though beyond our club, so it's possible that she has stuff and training materials that could do well. Just my thought.
Thank you very much, Tom.
All right. Next we added on the agenda was Bob Mix. Bob Mix, go ahead and talk about a radio project you're working on.
I'm here. I just talked, right? And you guys are going to see me?
Sure.
Yep. We see your smiling face.
Okay. Last month, I got an email from the ARRL talking about a homebrew project coming out in the December QST. and I suggested to Phil that we propose that as a project for us to build. And so he was kind of lukewarm about it at start, it seemed to me, but anyway, I got the magazine and read the article, and we communicated again. And in a week or two, Phil had already built the project. So what it is a bare bones synthesized QRPp transmitter. So I'm suggesting that we have a group project where we build it, anybody that's interested, and we'll do it over Zoom, and there'll be like 3 phases to it. The first one is to build the synthesized VFO. It generates a 40-meter square wave. And then the second phase would be building the analog RF amplifier that outputs a 1-watt FCC cleaned up CW signal. And a third phase might be to build a 3D printed case for it. I've been out to the arcade library, and they have a very nice facility with 4 very nice 3D printers. And I don't know what happens now under COVID time, but I went out there with the appropriate files on a zip drive, a flash drive, and handed it to a man there, and came back in less than a week later, and he printed out the case for a watt meter that I built. So it works. I was told that I could have a couple of different projects every week. It's absolutely free, so that works nicely. So that would be the 3 parts to it: is a digital board, an analog board. Put them together, and you have a QRPp transmitter. QRPp means that it's a 1 watt or less output. It's a CW transmitter, and I see it. You know, wants a 1 watt CW transmitter. Not too many people, but it's fun to build it. You learn a lot doing it. And the first phase would be to get the VFO operating with an Arduino software and a digital display. And it uses an encoder for changing the frequency. And that would be a great learning project. Later, we might add a receiver to it and turn it into a transceiver, but the full cost would be maybe $25. So there's not much of an investment, really cheap. You can pay a lot more than that for a book and learn a lot less. So I believe in doing hands-on things. So Phil built a prototype that actually works. He did it in no time at all. I would probably take 2 months doing it, and he did it in less than 2 weeks, I think. He, of course, had to improve it because he's that kind of guy. He's got improved inductors in it, and he always adds Phil's magic sauce to it, so it works better than it does for other people. And he will, if we get enough people involved, he'll design a printed circuit board, which I will have manufactured in China. So it only costs like 25 bucks, or if you don't want to pay a thing, but you're curious about it, of course you could pay nothing and just audit the class. It's going to be over Zoom, and you can do some virtual eavesdropping. You wouldn't have to build the whole thing. You could quit after the digital part and skip the RF amplifier and make a case for it out there using the 3D printer if you wanted. So anyway, that's what we're proposing. If anybody's interested, send me an email. Send an email to me at bob.mix@att.net, bob.mix@att.net, or send an email to Bill, or send an email to the DIYradio.io group. So that's basically it. Any questions?
Bob, a couple of things. When I put that thing together, it actually had 0 harmonic content. I couldn't find it on a spectrum analyzer. It was so clean, I just couldn't believe it, which is pretty remarkable. And what I suggest we might do, if Carol's agreeable, I thought I'd send a couple of pictures over to her to put on our website that shows what the breadboard looks like, and kind of plug the idea to those who look at our website, the 1,000 or so each month that track us down, and we'll get an idea of what the true interest in it would be. So I think that'd be a good way to promote it. Is that agreeable, Carol? Thumbs up? Okay.
That's all I have to say.
Well, Bob, out of curiosity, what's the synthesizer chip that's in there?
It's the SI 5351 that everybody's
All right.
using these days for QRP. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Bob. And I originally was going to do a presentation on a kit blog. So it might flow into a way for people to show how things work and tell and describe in words and pictures how you would do such a project. So it might flow into my presentation too. So we'll see what you think
Right.
of the kit blog. It's a little farther down.
Copacetic.
Sylvia presented stuff in chat. So if you haven't looked at chat, Weave has a Amazon website wish list. So if you wanted to buy a present and donate it to Weave, she's offered a link on the Zoom chat right now. And so check that out. I think she's done that already. I always thought that, I don't know, as a bunch of kit people, we would donate a 101 kit to some kid, whether they liked it or not. Well, hopefully they like it. That's how I was actually inspired with my first project, was a 101 kit from Radio Shack. So I would offer that to anybody as a
Yeah,
gift.
he told me that after I had ordered everything and had it delivered, so.
Well, I'm a nerd kid. I don't know that everybody would like that, but it was just a thought. All right. Well, the voting was in. Everybody voted for the Exceptional Merit Award, and we have a winner. I do not know who was going to present it. I can offer who I know it to be. So please congratulate Bob Woodward. He voted.
Hey, Bob.
He's been doing a health and welfare net all year long, pretty much, and all on his own. He's gotten people that volunteer to be net controls for that, and it's all his idea. And I know that we all wanted and thought of him immediately as somebody that has done something that's exceptional for this year. And so congratulations, Bob. Are you there out there?
Thank you very much. And actually, I should probably share the award with Peter KD6 QZH and Neil KL7HQR, who have been unfailing in their help doing the health and welfare net. We've had some suggestions from JoJo and a few others to improve the health and welfare net. And of course, we want to invite everybody to participate. The Lyle Aufranc Award is really special because I got my novice license at River City ARCS with Lyle's instruction and encouragement. So thank you very much to the club, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you also did the 2-meter net.
Yeah,
Which
you
was
jump
really
in
cool,
wherever
too.
you're needed.
No, I mean not using the repeater to see where everybody.
Oh, yeah, and if somebody'd remind me, Neil and I'll get the spreadsheet hopefully into the next newsletter, and we could maybe do that as an activity again and get some more interest. That was basically done in the health and welfare net to see who could contact who in case there was an emergency that our repeater was down. And we found some interesting things and some holes in certain areas and good contacts with other people. So we'll get that in the newsletter and we'll hopefully do it again.
Well, I can say that I've improved my antenna. You might hear me because Sylvia was the only one that heard me who was right next to me in our tests. So the simplex test, I think will improve next time if you do it again. Maybe we'll get heard by a neighbor.
He went out and bought a new antenna and a new radio, Bob. So
Nice.
This,
Well, you've got to keep the economy going, you know.
this is Peter, KD6QZH, you mind if I pop in? I just wanted to really recognize Bob and Neil and everybody in the club who's been helping to really support the hobby and bring more people in. You have a wonderful club, and I just came to Sacramento in the last 2 years, and everyone has been very welcoming. So I just wanted to say that. And Bob, you know, I mean, I appreciate the kind words for the health and welfare net, but you were the one that got Neil and I interested in supporting it. So you certainly deserve this.
I can say that the club is a dynamic group because we've had to do some shifts and weaves to get through this year. So, and we're still doing it maybe through part of next year. Hopefully we get into something that we can predict next year and maybe schedule some events that are, again, live, who knows. But again, we're gonna try and continue the computer route that we've been following so far and see how far we can go until we can meet people again. But thanks, Bob. That was, I definitely concur with everybody. That's who I thought of in for this award, and you won it easily, as far as I can tell. All right. Well, that brings me. Sure. That brings me to my presentation. Let's give it a try, and let me share my screen. I'm going to jump around a lot because Elmer Tools. I'm going to open a lot of things. So I think that if I can open my desktop. And you should see the island, and then I can bring up my presentation. And it got skipped ahead. So I start off with tools for Elmers. Again, this is my Tom Cutter Whiskey 6 Bravo Sierra. I did like Carol's picture of Elmer and the little caption that says, in the ham tradition, an Elmer, a benevolent, shares knowledge and provides guidance and support to ensure that others may enjoy the wonders, excitement, and friendship of radio. And I had my own thoughts of what an Elmer would look like. And I thought of Yoda. Yoda is the all-knowing and the mentor, and we are all apprentice. But in reality, I've always thought that you become an Elmer as soon as you get a license. Everybody starts somewhere, and I do not feel that I am an Elmer. I've been a ham for 4 years. I don't know how long it takes, but in my point of view, as soon as you get your first license, you become an Elmer, because getting that license, you've learned how the process of where to get the training materials, probably from the ARRL. At least that's what I used, the ARRL technician book, and then the general book, and then the advanced book. And where you can find training, testing classes, those are also posted on the ARRL, and that's where I found them. Let me get the big screen now that I noticed that it's not there, a big Yoda. So I thought, no, Elmers are not the all-knowing person who knows everything about radio. It's all of us. We all are Elmers. We have a license, and we learn with others as peers or along the way. And so here's a slide about an Elmer, but in reality, you could just take that middle part and say it's a mentor. So in a sense, whoever taught you on how to do something with your radios or electronics, who motivated you to do something, giving your advice, which is probably Phil, made you successful in doing what you're doing, gave you direction. Maybe that's Carol, actually. Coaching, maybe that's Carol. Support. Support is always good. If you find somebody that's doing the same thing you're doing at the same time, great. You can both learn together. And that's kind of why I'm going to go with tools that are cooperative. Since I'm an IT guy, I always think of the tools we used as a computer in the computer world. We're always isolated. We don't like to talk to people. We avoid meetings, except if they're in Zoom, because then we can bring them up on our desk and then go do our work and just let it play. Hopefully people aren't doing that now. But there are tools that are electronic until we can actually get into actually interacting, which is probably, everybody has a different way of how they learn. Some people can read a book, some people can watch a video, some people can learn by searching a topic with Google or whatnot. So those are all tools. And I did find that Ward Silver had a book, Ham Radio for Dummies. I've never bought it, but I'm thinking about buying this book. I do remember that in my path to becoming a ham, back in the I got my ham license in 2016, but I've been working on it since I was a teenager. And the thing that I was most interested in was the ARRL Amateur Radio Handbook. It had so many electronic projects in that book that I'd love to have tried them all, or at least tried some of them. They were well beyond how I could figure out how somebody could figure out how to do those things. And I actually started in college as an electrical engineering major. And my thought was that I was going to eventually understand how to do those things. And here I am today. I got through most of my bachelor's degree in electrical engineering, and then I switched to computer science. And so now I'm more of a computer head. So in my biography that I've posted up on QRZ, I described that I'd rather learn how something works and maybe not talk on the radio. And so I think there's people like me, that's my path. And we'll go into why QRZ is interesting, at least to me, a little later. So Elmer is another definition that somebody had up there. A mentor who is very useful in helping you over the rough spots that every ham radio newcomer encounters. The first stop to any ham journey with a new ham license is to log into QRZ and start your mini biography. So let me, that's a link, and I'll have these up on the website, I think, sooner or later. So again, let's see how these pop in between my PowerPoint presentation and QRZ. So this is our QRZ.com website. Let me bring up myself. There's a little call sign area, you pop it in, and there's my mini biography on how I became a ham. And you can put whatever you want in these things. Everybody that's a ham has a QRZ.com page. Maybe it's blank right now if you've never visited it. You have the capability of editing it, and that's what this little button is here. And you can go through and add pictures, which is what I've done. This is making it a little larger. This is my antenna that's on a tower in the back of the house. This is me on a bicycle. I have an interest in bicycle racing, although that particular time it was in May is bike month, and they were promoting tie-dye. So I was on a time trial bike in my tie-dye t-shirt, and I thought that was funny. Sylvia took my photo, and she didn't object too much. So that's going to be something that's going to be on a QSL card eventually, and we'll go into why QSL cards are interesting. So again, describing how your setup is and all these things. Whenever you contact somebody on the radio and they want to look up something about you and maybe find things that are in common, they look at this website, and at least they would read your biography, or they would say, how far away are they? And you'd look down here and say, oh, okay, this person is, well, in this case, it's my house, so it's the distance isn't on there, but on anybody else, it'll give you how many miles or in what direction they are from your house. So it's always interesting. And I think this is your start of any new ham. You shouldn't have a blank QRZ page. You should put something there to describe how you became a ham. And I think that's step one. So let's see if I can bring back my slide presentation.
Tom?
Yes.
Yeah, maybe we should mention that the QRZ page, the personal identifying information is not available unless you sign in. So your general public won't have your address on there.
Right, yeah. In fact, my email is on there, but you would not get it until you log in. And you actually have this site, but you don't have a login. So your first step is to create yourself a password, and then you can start working on. So the step one is to create a password account that is waiting for you to do it. And it's all there on how you can look at the website and find out how to do those things. Like step 1A, I guess, is to actually log into the thing.
Am I correct that you actually have to be a ham, have a call sign before you can participate on QRZ?
Yep. As soon as you get any license, then you get a QRZ entry.
Okay.
And they use the FCC license database to know that you're a ham, and that they have some kind of process of exporting that information down for them, and it starts the whole process.
Okay.
The ARRL, we're talking about Elmers, there's an award. And let's see if this comes up. So there's a website on nominating somebody for an Elmer Award. And so if you are interested, it's here. And down here is who you're nominating and why you think that they've helped you and how they helped you. And so that's all promoting goodwill, basically. What else? Another website I was browsing around, this is jumping around quite a bit, but for new hams, I found a website called Hamsphere, and I thought it was a pretty good website. If you've gone through the technician, ARRL technician stuff, it covers the same stuff, but this website has all of the quick little hits of how to get a license, what your shack looks like, transceivers, antennas, logbooks, QSL cards, which I briefly talked about. Mine's going to be that little bicycle guy in tie-dye in front of my house. What about QSL cards? You'll find, if you don't already know, that's a little postcard, basically, that if you make a contact, you hand it and mail it to the person that you made a contact with, and they vice versa send you a paper card. So it's a tradition. And there's some electronic forms for that if you get into that as well. Description of Elmers and clubs. The ARRL has a list of all clubs out there. So if you were looking for a club, if you didn't find this one, there is a way of searching the ARRL website for clubs near you as well. Digital modes, ham frequencies, CW, Q codes, phonetic alphabet. If you don't know that, practice. I think what's the one I always joke about? I don't know. Dog instead of Delta. I mess that one up every now and then. Emergency communications. Some people get into radio because they want to. They would like in a disaster to help out, and that's a section on here. The Jamboree on the Air. That's usually around the same time as Pacificon, so you'll see a lot of Boy Scouts at Pacificon trying to work and get their badges for radio, basically, an amateur radio, radio wave propagation, on and on and on and on and on. So let's move on to the next thing. But again, if you're interested in that link, check it out. In our board meeting, we were talking about one of the first steps we need to do is create an Elmer roster. People who are willing to be an Elmer, but I have different thoughts on that, which I'll go into later. But I found a good example here on this website, jumping around. They broke it down into technical help. So they had Elmers that know about antennas, and they threw their call sign and the person to contact, and beams and towers, electronic theory, using computers in the ham shack. Maybe I would volunteer myself for that. I do that quite a bit. Using RTT and digital, they had a person. Somebody that's interested in VHF, UHF, DX weak signal. Interesting category. RFI and TVI. RFI, maybe I would think of Carol on that, I don't know. But I use some of her ideas in trying to get rid of my RFI problems. Elmers in contesting. I didn't think that was something that you would need to do, but that's interesting. And again, QSL sending and receiving. The QSL Bureau, I did not know that it existed until I got a bunch of an email from the ARRL 6 group that said I have a bunch of DX contacts that were to my call sign. So if you ever get other countries that have QSLG with cards, they often send it to the ARRL Bureau for whatever area you are. We're in the 6th Bureau, and you may have cards waiting for you if you ever worked a Japanese station or anybody that's DX and has sent you a QSL card. And, you know, CW procedures, so on and on and on. I think that if we needed to make a list, this would be a good example. Phil, I don't know what you think of that. I have another idea though, so let me move on. And then I found in my browsing for Elmers, because I was just scatterbrained into thinking, what am I going to talk about? Because all I really was going to talk about was a blog website. But I thought, oh, let's go a little more detail. So there is a W5NOR club that has a group of Elmers, and they have a homebrew. So I was kind of interested in the homebrew part of it. So let's poke that around and have a look at it. So what they did is they created a page on the website with an Elmer list like this. They also nominate Elmers via the ARRL Elmer Award. And then they have a Hall of Fame for people that have done it long enough that they're listed as the Gold Star Elmers. So they have a Hall of Fame for this particular club. That might be interesting to try. Again, we don't have it. We were just coming up with ideas and what a roster of Elmers would look like. And then this homebrew I did like. I'm going to steal some of this stuff maybe. Basically where you can get stuff off of eBay or DigiKey or Mauser or electronics parts locations, Harbor Freight, et cetera, et cetera. So this website, if you're a home brewer, maybe you would be interested in this site. So it's going to be in this presentation. Have a look at it later. And there is a Facebook page that just for Elmers. And so I joined it, and they admitted me. All I had to do was just say that I had a call sign. And so there's a place on Facebook for asking questions that are for generic Elmer requests. And everybody that has a Facebook page can answer their questions. So this guy was describing that he had made a 62 microhenry coil using Pringles can as a guide for wrapping around it. And it worked better than anything he'd ever made, and on and on and on. So there's quite a bit of stuff here. So if you're looking for ways of finding out questions to be asked beyond our club, they're out there, as well as this next one, which was Reddit, which is a popular blog for a lot of things, but there's an amateur radio blog, which is right there. But you can click through it if you want to see it. So then I thought the tools for Elmers. First thing I do when I have a question, and I do not ask anybody, I usually just go and Google it and see if I can find out. I have an ICOM 7300 and I want to interface it to an Apple computer. Has anybody done it? And I'll put in some kind of search and come up with results. And often it'll be somebody wrote something up in a blog, or they created a YouTube video on how to do it. So people use tools with video, or they write it in some way. I prefer the written way of doing it because it's easier for me to follow than watching a video that's like a half an hour to do the same thing. It seems quicker to me to read it than to watch it. We use Zoom, but Zoom is often used as an Elmer tool. So if some clubs are using it on off nights as kind of like a once a week get together with various topics to discuss. And we've kind of thrown that idea around on the board. Maybe having on a Wednesday, have people meet when we can meet, say in your patio, and have a bunch of handheld radios, and all the hams that have never joined in the 2-meter net. We'll give you a handy talkie, and you'll figure out how to get on and join the net. So that's a possible idea for Elmering the group of people that are new to ham radio. YouTube and YouTube live stream. We're using live stream now for slow scan TV that Carol was describing. I like it. We found that I was kind of interested in the foreign people that were long distance call signs that were joining Carol's presentations, which was kind of interesting. I don't know how they found out about it, but they said, hey, Carol's doing a live stream on SlowScan TV, and they were there. Facebook is often used for event notification. I think, you know, say like you have, you're at some location and you're going to be doing a booth or something. There's often used Facebook for event notification. And there's something that we haven't used. Facebook Live is a way of actually doing video as well. And maybe I haven't really looked at it, but maybe there's an opportunity to use Facebook Live if somebody wants to create a session of video that's not Zoom, because if it's too complicated, I think most people may have Facebook already and they can start a Facebook Live interaction. The two things I wanted to talk about were Discord. We used this chat program for our field day, and it has become an Elmer tool. As we've left it run, our N6NA group has grown, and we get people back and forth asking questions and interacting about various topics. And I'll jump into that to show you what's been going on and maybe describe that maybe you want to get into that. Anybody that's interested in asking questions back and forth, or they want to participate and answer questions, just get in that group. And if you're not there live, it stays around and you can answer the question whenever you see it. So I think it's going to be a good tool for Elmers. And I have an ideas that not so much as a website of Super Elmers, but as a group of people that are willing to participate, we can break down topics inside this tool on various subjects. And maybe I can describe it in a little bit. And then the thing that I have been working on is a website for kit blogging and do-it-yourself projects. And I think that people might find it useful. I'm an IT guy that's retired in January, and I've been looking for a project that interests me, and computer projects certainly interest me. And I thought I could tie it in with radio. So by creating a blog website for open use, people can register and log in and go to writing up your do-it-yourself projects. It might make it easier, and it lives on beyond just our 1 month topic. It becomes part of the internet, and people will find you by Google searches and whatnot. And you become a famous Elmer in doing some project that like loop antennas or something, which has been lived on beyond the original presentation. So let me, so I put up a link for Discord to join the N6NA group. I will click it briefly, but I'm already logged in, so I will not continue. You would accept this invitation and create an account. We've asked people that create accounts to use your call sign as a user ID, so we can then know that it's amateur related and we know who you are. You can also put your name on there as well. But for logging in, to log in with creating an account with your call sign as the user ID. And so getting into that, let's see. I have it up already. So Carol's been posting things that well, basically all 17 of these people that are, oh, actually we have 18 now. Maybe it's because I'm in here twice, Carol, but here's Arecibo that we were talking about briefly. And this is what happened to it. First, it had some minor damage from the hurricane and eventually collapsed. And I think this is what Carol posted today. Eesh. Let me get back to that. I lost it. And how do I get out of the big version of it? So it has a history that goes back a long ways about everything that people have been working on. And there's been questions asked about how do you do this or how do you do that? And so it's pretty cool. Although it's just one big group of stuff, I think as we grow, we can create a general channel like suggested over here, and we can break in topics of, I don't know, contesting or whatnot, and then people can chat in that particular group and not have to see it as one big blob of stuff, because this goes quite a bit back. So when you get on, you'll see everything that's been discussed basically since June that people have been using on here. It's really interesting, I think. So if you don't want to be an Elmer, but you want to know what people are up to, go here. This is really interesting. And create an account and join with that URL. I can bring it back up again. So the Discord ugly URL is up there. The other thing I've been working on, when we had our Do It DIY night, I was doing a presentation on plasma antennas, but I was actually using my blog software in a development system. So that kind of got me into trouble, and then it kind of failed during the process. And then I had to song and dance using PDFs that I'd saved. But here's the blog. So it's on that link. And what I put up here is basically how I thought it would work. So the very first entry I'd said is this side blog was created to discuss do-it-yourself kit building projects. The idea is to allow users to create a free account and describe electronic kit or DIY project they have worked on. It is the basis for Elmering. You are an expert because you tried something, and others may benefit from what you've created or expand on it. Like Phil has done with a project that we were discussing at the beginning of this. He's already improved on it. Make successive improvements is the basis for all learning. It starts with someone giving a first cut at it. The hope is by making what we do public with a kit blog, others will be inspired to either duplicate your ideas or try something new, basically to inspire kit building and DIY projects. So that's my first idea of what this was for. I did put my plasma antenna up here. This is hosted at, well, there's a lot in creating a website. If you're a computer head, I can go through it. Maybe I'll put it up on the chat in Discord. But you probably have already seen this. This is my plasma antenna fluorescent light and the flamingo. Maybe I'll follow on with part 2 as I actually completed the flamingo antenna. And I can describe that maybe as a blog. Go ahead.
It works?
Yeah.
Cool.
I would love to show it at field day. Hopefully we have field day in person. We'll see. And here's some thoughts about, you might notice it's GitHub at cutterelectronics.com. What is cutterelectronics.com? Nothing right now. I only created the blog site. My thought was that I would make a front page that had a list of kits that I'm interested in, where you can get them, how much they cost, or maybe I would even buy some and you would order through me. So the idea is that my next stop in computer play is to make a cutterelectronics.com website specializing in kit building, electronic kits. And so I thought that, the ideas of people that are already building radio kits and whatnot. Here are some of the things that I've popped in here. You can look at them later or whatever if you're interested. The site I really like is Kickstarter.com. That's a group of people that are looking for money to help fund creating boards to actually build kits and have some really interesting ideas. So this website has a login and a register. So if you would like to register and start talking about a kit you're working on, please do so. Add it on here. It'll become famous, hopefully. All right. I can go into how you edit it and all, but that's probably not interesting. So I open up for discussion. What do you think? Should we create a roster of people with specialties, or can we chat on Discord and participate that way? Right now we're kind of growing, and I just thought, how do we interact if we're not volunteering? That I don't know everything. I'm not Yoda, but I can help in some small way. Certainly, I think we can log into a chat and participate when we find something we're an expert in and help out. So I just thought these are the tools I can think of. Certainly the electronic tools at any rate.
Tom?
Yeah, let me get this down we're done talking about all this stuff. Go ahead, Phil.
I got a note from JoJo, and he presented a rather interesting idea. He was thinking in terms of, we establish, and you touched on this briefly, a Zoom night where we have topics, Elmer request type topics, where we work with that interested party. And of course, others would be free to join in. And it sounds to me like a pretty good idea. It gets started. We can list what the topic's going to be. And we probably have others that would find an interest and would also wish to join in. And in doing so, I think we might find we've got more people that volunteer to perform that Elmer task, which I think would be incredibly helpful to our members. So we can kick that around at our next board session, but I think there's an awful lot of opportunity there. There's JoJo. You want to comment briefly on that, JoJo?
Oh, yes. Thank you, Phil. I actually want to give a shout out to Wilson Head. He is in the meeting, and 6MEF, because I had the idea fortified when Wilson started that over-the-air discussion about FT8. And it so happened that I just barely finished working on FT8, and I haven't tested it yet. So I told him, this is a very interesting opportunity for us to talk about our common goals. And he started it. I just jumped in, but I have my plans on how to have the Elmership services or availability of Elmers to teach other hams. And then I wrote out that plan that I have to really seek out or make a table of who are the ones having that system, those who can do FT8, and we'll keep asking or bugging them how to duplicate your station so we can participate and go from there. So that was my suggestion.
And Phil, Neil, I can offer another example. Also with Wilson and Carol and a few others, we have had already a beginning of that process for SSTV. I started on the 2 meter repeaters, and we probably will go and talk about SSTV on HF. So yeah, great idea, and I think it's already beginning to work. If we can organize it, that would be great.
Yeah, I think Carol's YouTube, the SSTV is kind of an Elmer thing all unto itself too.
Yes, it is, but I think that one, Carol is there, she can speak for herself, but that one now with the YouTube, we want to have learn outside and perform on that mat, and that's the idea.
That's kind of where I think chat comes in. It's more interactive. Instead of one person presenting a topic, if you're all doing it as peers, it's a great opportunity to cooperate and get together and talk directly. I don't see any problems with more people joining the chat and getting back and forth discussions on what they're interested in.
Yeah, one thing about the slow scan TV net, it's always been a training net. So you don't have to be embarrassed, for making mistakes and learning how you're doing it. We all learn by watching people go through the steps of fixing problems that pop up, and documenting that on something like YouTube is a great thing, because other people that are then interested can watch that and also learn from what we've learned. So, but the Zoom is definitely good, but if you actually make a recording of the Zoom session, then you actually are putting out there a teaching tool for the greater community, which I think is very valuable as well.
Good point.
But I like to have a starting point as to who has the capability to do the different modes. Like we already know who can do SSTV. And then, of course, we know Carol knows FT8. And for the other modes, we would be happy to find somebody to directly contact and organize the Elmer session.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking for tools that you could interact. You have no idea what somebody can do unless you throw out, go, does anybody know this? And then poof, you get an answer. So given that I've been an IT guy for a long time, chat is pretty common to me, and there are so many topics that you can create broken out so that if you're not interested in that, you can just join the little, instead of just directly contacting one person and interacting, you can talk as a group on a particular topic. And that if you look at Discord, you can create general text areas for doing topics, and maybe that can align with our roster if we do our roster as well. I have no idea where it would go. I do not like the idea of an all-knowing Yoda that can do everything. I think we all can do stuff because we've tried stuff. So I'm more afraid of saying that I can do everything because I can't. I would not want to offer my 4 years experience as a I might know something about my ICOM 7300, and I might know something about a Baofeng walkie-talkie and chirp. But beyond those things, everybody has something different. So you never know unless you ask. And I just would like the tools to make it easier for you to ask.
Yep.
Would it be possible for us to send you an email with the items of interest, and then you can see if you can find groups or people that have knowledge in that area? For instance, we were talking about the weather balloon that was launched, and they were talking about Whisper and a few other technologies that I am not familiar with. There are a whole bunch of things that I'm interested in, but I don't know where to go. So I think that would be a good way.
Well, in the roster point of view, you can pick the overall topics that you think are interested, and then find somebody that was willing to be the expert. I was hoping that wasn't the way we would go. I was hoping more, go ahead and ask in a chat program. Everybody can see it if we're all members of it. You can get on and you can answer that question. You probably, if we're not directly on at the time you were there, it persists. So that question stays there forever. Oh, well, somebody will see it when they get on. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, but I think that you really do want to have some focus to the chat, not so having a list or a topic, a general topic, be it Whisper. I mean, some people might be interested in Whisper that aren't interested in slow scan. So if you put up a general topic or have a general list of what people are interested in, I think it'll be a little bit more focused and a little bit easier for people to know when to join the group. So I don't think it's a bad idea to approach it from multiple angles.
You know,
like an index.
Yeah, well, it sounds an awful lot like the forums that I see, you know, whether you're on Ravelry or one of the, you know, which does fiber arts topics, or my husband is in a motorcycle club thing. And it is broken down into threads, so that if you have a topic, when you sign on to that, then there's all these associated questions and answers. And it's, you can be either a questioner or an answerer, and it's not directed necessarily at a particular person. Elmering is not by any stretch of the imagination limited to amateur radio. We just happen to have a name for it. But I think that's kind of where we're doing, is trying to create a forum that is structured in a way that's helpful from both directions. I know something, you want to know something, let's get those two pieces of information together. And I think that's what we're heading for, pretty much.
Yeah. Historically, those kind of topics have been list servers. So you would join a list of an interesting topic.
Yeah,
those members are interested, but maybe that's beyond just a club. That's a group that's maybe the United States or the world.
Yeah, well, even within a club though, you can have a, you know, you can just start the questions and have all of the club members able to see the thread. It's just that if it's answered, it can be answered as like a page, much the way that emails are connected, so that there's an initial query and then people have appended things to it, and it's cohesive because it's connected that way. Am I making sense?
Sure. I also put up the examples of websites I did like of a roster which had particular subjects and what they were willing to answer questions about that topic. So I did like that as well. It's a different approach.
You can put a listserv into your GitHub.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, you know, there's some broad topics because there's pretty much, you know, antennas, equipment, operating procedures, you know, and then the kit building or the DIY kind of things and so on. So you can still get fairly broad categories that have a lot of room for queries within that category without it getting too broken down or too narrowly focused,
And this is Peter, KD6QZH. I'm not sure what the protocol is for participating in the discussions. Can I just jump in?
Yep.
Go ahead. We're just discussing how to do the things we're trying to do. Go ahead.
I know, I just didn't know if I had to get the president's attention on what the protocol was. I think I like both ideas actually, and I do training as part of my professional life. And to me, if for a couple of Zoom topics, for example, you could have some of the start out with common topics that everybody has questions about. Antennas, radios, the different modes. And then you can sort of branch off into other kind of subtopics that are related to the hobby. Like there's a lot of, emergency communications through amateur radio might be a topic. And then that would have a subtopic. How do you, if you're assigned to do communications in a shelter, how does that work? So I think it would really bring people in. And you could do the other aspect of setting up a forum where people can post questions and you can answer them. I don't think they're too mutually exclusive. I'm more comfortable with the Zoom method myself because I like to relate to the person I'm either giving training to or getting training from.
Yeah, I like both ways as well. I do like that ask the expert, but it turns out that your peers are the experts. I do like anybody to participate. So that I like the peer-peer participation as well. And that I can see in a chat or a list server of some sort.
Tom,
Well, this might be a little heretical, but I'm wondering if there's enough critical mass in one club. I wonder if it makes sense to do something that's comprehensive of the area. For example, the guys on the IOK repeater are really big into DMR, and the Sierra Foothills Club is, they've got their stuff going with the ASU format.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if we broaden it out, that you'd have a larger critical mass and therefore a richer dialogue around any particular topic. Because list servers work because there's a large pool of knowledge you can pull from, right?
Right.
So, anyways, I just throw that out.
Well, that can be a self-fulfilling prophecy. I mean, as things evolve, you can certainly expand the area. I would think one thing we should try is I think we should pick a meeting a month or a meeting a week where anybody can jump in and say, can anybody give me a hand with XYZ? And we'd have a cadre of let's say half a dozen of our club-based Elmers, see if we can handle that topic. So they get kind of an instant gratification kind of thing. That doesn't mean we couldn't have a very formatted, regimented schedule of topics, but I think the ad hoc, pick it up quick sort of thing would go a long way towards helping a lot of people that are in need of some fairly quick responses.
Bill, I think that's a great idea, where we might have a topic as well as time for ad hoc questions that people want to ask, could be in the same meeting.
Sure.
Well,
But again, I think we need a mechanism for that quick response.
So you're
And
talking like,
I'm sorry.
Uh,
We're not going to be
okay.
able to guess what those questions are. So without, providing a mechanism to deal with them with, a quality group of folks that can deal with fairly involved topics, I think we're kind of shooting ourselves in the foot.
are you thinking something like the second Tuesday of the month? Because we're already using the 1st and the 4th, and to make it an Elmer night?
Yeah, any night, it doesn't matter. It's just one of those things. We have a schedule that
Yeah.
that we can post naturally on our web page and give it a while. It's going to take some time for this thing to evolve and gain some maturity and sophistication, but we need to expand on our Elmer program, and I think this is a great way to go about it.
Yep.
Yeah, the Sierra Foothills Amateur Radio Club has an Elmer Net the first and third Wednesday of every month at 7:30 on the repeater. And just they take check-ins and then people pose questions as they check in. And you can be an Elmer for one thing and a questionnaire for another thing. And it works real well.
So they do it voice then, mostly.
Yeah, it's on the repeater.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
That's the simplest way to get to people.
On the board side of things, trying to decide what the club members want to see presented is always a New Year's worth of stuff that we have to look for next year. And so we guess what people would be interested, or we cooperatively say, yeah, that's pretty interesting. I'm interested in that. We don't always get an idea of everybody's involvement in what topics we would present over the year. Aside from just doing an Elmer breakout session, that's kind of less interest of the entire general population, but a smaller group of people. I'm trying to find tools and way we can interact to know that there are things that we're not covering, and we can do that. So I was looking for tools and making it easier for people to talk and let us know what they're interested in.
Go ahead.
Remind people that they can always send an email to the board with suggestions or ideas.
Well, I was going to touch on that ever so slightly. There's been several occasions where we've asked the question, what would you like to see be presented? And generally we're greeted with pretty much dead air.
Crickets. Cricket.
Not only that, we have an Elmer night where we pick 4 topics and we actually make up a list and say, these are the things that we feel are of general interest. And then we let the members at the board meeting or at the membership meeting respond as to which ones they find to be of the greatest interest. And even that's a little slow getting responses back. But generally, those Elmer sessions have been well received. We've done some interesting stuff. So again, I know that we're kind of bouncing around on this a little. When the board will meet, we'll come up with an initial game plan. And then of course we can fine tune that game plan. But again, I think one of the cornerstones of this thing should be an instant gratification mechanism so that when people find themselves in a rut, they've got a way to get out of that rut.
Mm-hmm. So Phil, building on what you said, I think you made some really good points in the workplace that I work at. When we do communication sessions, we get crickets as well. So we normally send out a poll of like 10 potential topics and see what the voting is. And then we'll usually pick the top 3 and then open it up for any, ad hoc question that comes up. So I think in order to get feedback from the community or the membership, sometimes you have to seed them with a list of potential topics. And that may be a way of generating and getting this whole flywheel kind of moving along.
That's cool. I think we can send out an email survey to everyone. So we could seed it. If you guys have ideas about what to put on it, send us an email message and we can send it out to everyone and they can just click and then put a box to add things.
I think Tom hit the nail on the head. We've got the idea of structure. We've got the idea of this quick gratification. So, if we were to begin initially with a 2-part program, one part, the topic on the minds of the fella in need of the Elmer, and the other one kind of a prepared topic. You know, we can cover two fishes at once, at least as a way to approach it initially.
Well, that's why my presentation was scattershot, in that I was going to throw a lot of stuff out there and see which way the wind blew. So I was more interested in the discussion. So thank you all for participating.
Is it sort of like figuring out if the noodle's done, if it sticks to the wall, it's good stuff?
Something like that. Everybody take a bite. Who likes it?
I'm with you.
I'm trying to see which way the noodles blow into the wall and say there's 10 noodles, but that's the one I'm interested in.
You know, it's all in the sauce.
Sylvia.
I have one comment at the beginning. I posted on my Facebook page if anybody knew anybody at West Campus who would be interested in sponsoring a student radio club. And one of my friends said, let me send a note to the physics teacher over there. So he sent a note over to the physics teacher. So we'll see. I don't think JoJo is still on. Oh, there's JoJo. We'll see what we get back. So my guess is he doesn't have a license, but
We can fix that.
yeah.
Yeah, we can fix that. Yes.
If he has time, you know, teachers they do reach their breaking point. So
We're trying to give them something fun to do so we can relax a little bit and enjoy the kids, right?
yeah, but
Right.
it's one more thing, you know. So
Yep. Anyway, I'm glad of one thing. It seems like generally we've reached consensus that we need a more public Elmer program and that we need to organize it so that it's both accessible and attractive. Would that be a good summary of what we've been approaching?
Sure.
Well, our n6na.org website actually says that we are a mentoring club. So that's kind of our, that is actually the goal of all clubs, I think, is that to promote amateur radio, to foster interest, to Elmer. I mean, that's all part of being in a club. That's kind of why we joined, among the interest in people that you keep running into. Sylvia and I, we kept running into Carol at various places, go, oh, well, what club is she part of? And so just getting that we're out there is part of marketing, is part of letting you know you're out there and gathering people. And then trying to keep people is trying to keep the interest that everybody joined for. And so Elmering, I think, is why we're here.
By the way, the term marketing is defined as creating demand.
Well, so
How about that?
on the subject of creating demand and our website, since we already mentioned the Elmering, maybe we need to pose it as a question of the week or question of the month, because people do hit so often. If they put their questions on the website, if they had a place to post them, maybe we could use that as seed for our project of expanding into we're going to do this as a monthly, weekly, whatever Zoom meeting, and see if that helps get the topics moving.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. You know, I honestly think we've kicked enough stuff around here this evening that maybe we should take our solution solving to the next board meeting and just define how we wish to roll this thing out. And again, recognize that this is a work in progress, that you need to start somewhere, and we can adjust accordingly.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think we have talked a bit about it, and I've created a KidHub site. If you've got a project you're working on and you can put it in there, I don't see any reason why you could not present it to the club as well. It's just a tool available for you. And if you're not interested in presenting it to the club, it becomes part of the internet Googleness. So you will be known just for doing something, and it grows on its own. That's kind of how social media works. You never know what's going to hit. So if you're interested in kit building or do-it-yourself projects, go ahead and use what I created. That's kind of why I did it for everybody, if you like it. I do see that chat is a way of saying, hey, I have an interest in something, and if we get enough people on that list, we have 17, at least 17 people will see it, and maybe they'll answer. So I kind of view that as an Elmering tool, and that's your way, instead of putting it on a website, is just say, go here. If you have a question, join our chat. But hopefully it's more interactive. So anyway, thanks everybody. Tonight, anybody else have final topics, or we'll just close it down? We're 9 o'clock already.
I think we can look forward to all of us having a Merry Christmas and whatever merry we can make, and hope to see you soon.
I would say thanks again to N6PGQ.
Well done, Robert.
Congrats. All right. Good night, everyone. I'll shut it down.
Good night, everybody.
I have a question for John. John, you still there? John?
KI6RT or another John?
Yeah. And you mentioned a club that is quite interesting in MDMR. So I have a radio, MDMR radio, and I have to program it and so on. So I wonder if you can just give me the name of that club.
It's K6IOK is the repeater. I don't know if there's a club associated with it, but they're a big DMR community.
Oh, DMR, okay. Is KL6?
KI6, K6IOK, I think.
You sure it isn't K6 AIS or something? I thought there was confusion.
I'll look it up. Let me look up your call sign and I'll shoot you an email, Giuseppe.
Yeah, the call sign is Kilo Echo Fox Tango.
Yep, sounds good. I just recently unpacked my radios. I've been here for 3 years in the area, and I've been trying to find a DMR code plug as well. So maybe we can solve
myself, yeah, because I have a DMR. I won a DMR radio there back in Pacificon last year, and the radio is there, and I want to set it up and so on. So really, I have to start. I am all new. I am an old timer, but very new to DMR. So shoot me an email with the information. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. Bob and I came from the Bay Area where DMR was picking up right as about the time I moved here. So I'm trying to reestablish my DMR stuff as well. So I'll shoot you an email.
Okay, thanks so much. You'll find me on QRZ. It's no problem. Okay.
Sounds good. Giuseppe.
Okay,
Yep.
Kilo Echo Fox Tango. Giuseppe. Okay. Have a Merry Christmas, everybody. Okay.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Talk to you later.
Yeah. Phil.
Good to see you, Bob.
Do you have an eBay for a PayPal for the renewing the membership, or is there some other mean?
Oh, PayPal on the website.
It's PayPal on the website. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for the information. Okay, Gert. Thanks so much. Okay.
All right. Good night. I'm going to shut it now.
Take care.
Bye-bye.